President Trump has issued sweeping pardons for several key allies who backed his effort to subvert the 2020 election results. That's according to the president's so-called clemency czar, Justice Department pardon attorney Ed Martin, who released a list on social media late last night that includes the names of 77 people who received pardons. They include Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, John Eastman, Kenneth Chesebro, Boris Epstein, and Sidney Powell, among others. Now, Politico points out that the pardons are largely symbolic because none of those identified were charged with any federal crimes. Additionally, the document posted online is also undated, so it's not clear exactly when President Trump signed it. The pardon language explicitly states it does not apply to Trump himself. The White House and Justice Department did not immediately respond to requests for comment. So, Ken, there's a lot to sift through here. We know that President Trump has stacked his administration with some of those previous 2020 election deniers, those who claim falsely that he won the election. And symbolic or not, this is another symbol here that he's simply not going to play by the rules, and that these are people who he is yet another example in this administration where he has used the powers of government to punish his foes, and in this case, reward his friends, those who do his bidding.
I would say it's a bit more than symbolic, Jonathan, in the sense that some of these people were clearly considered unindicted co-conspirators by Jack Smith in the investigation of the false elector scheme that resulted in the indictment of Donald Trump. And they were certainly at risk of being charged federally. Now, of course, that was never going to happen during this administration, and there's a statute of limitations problem. But often there are ways to get around statutes of limitations. And so some of these people had some real risk of being charged criminally in the false elector scheme if a Democrat or someone who's not like-minded with Donald Trump becomes the next president and controls the Justice Department. So this is a big deal, and it's just a continuation of what is happening within the Trump administration in terms of pardoning people who've committed very serious offenses, in this case haven't been charged with offenses but are believed by many people to have engaged in misconduct. And just it's about the political whims of Donald Trump. It's about who he likes and who he wants to help. And if you believe a certain way that was in his interests, you're liable for a pardon, whether it's Ghislaine Maxwell or people who engaged in this false elector scheme. Now, the thing to remember is there were state attorneys general investigations into various false elector schemes around the country. It's unclear exactly what's happening with those, but these pardons, of course, would not apply to state charges.